Today on Inside Pierce County, we're going to join our medical examiner's team and see what goes into a death investigation. Let's go.
ME36 en route to case 0275. We are responding out to a 57-year-old female who was found unresponsive in her garage. And so we're going to go investigate the scene and then take her back to the medical examiner's office for an exam.
So here we're in the autopsy suite with our medical examiner, Dr. Klein. Dr. Klein, I know your team gets like 3,000 death reports a year. What are the kind of things that determine whether you take jurisdiction or not?
It's whether or not it is natural or there might be something unnatural relating to the death.
And it could be a crime, it could be whether they know what has happened.
Yeah, a lot of times it's someone who's found deceased outside of the care of a doctor and you just don't know how they died. Our death investigators will be asking questions to determine whether or not something external to someone's natural disease could have caused that death.
So I know we have lots of different kinds of death. Can we learn more about those things?
Sure.
Dr. Klein, how does your team's job change when there might be a crime involved?
We're going to be heavily focused on recognizing evidence, collecting evidence, and preserving it. In this case, collecting multiple bullets that will then be preserved and then sent to the laboratory for testing. After I do the physical examination in the autopsy suite, we have tissue that we look at under the microscope. On all the autopsies, we look at pieces of heart, lung, liver, kidney, brain. And we're looking for what's there and what's not there, depending on the case. This is a kidney, and there's this subtle finding of little bubbles underneath the nuclei. This person was actually in diabetic ketoacidosis and succumbed to natural disease. It's this part that is the most rewarding because you get to put everything together and provide answers for the family.
I'm here with Hunter Kane, who's a forensic autopsy technician. Hunter, can you tell me what some of the tools of the trade are?
Yeah, absolutely. Here we have our toxicology rack. It consists of many different vials that we would collect of bodily fluids at autopsy. This is also a DNA swatch card, which is useful for law enforcement investigations where we might have a homicide or suspicious, undetermined kind of case like that. Over here, I have a scalpel that I would use to incise. And then I also have a hemostat.
Hunter, tell me a little bit about your education and why you took this job.
I have a master's degree in biological and physical anthropology, which is just a fancy way of saying that I looked at skeletons for 6 years. Something that is really interesting to me is how we can look at the skeleton and be able to figure out a person's sex or genetic ancestry or their age even.
So what does it feel like when you are part of the team that gives family closure about a lost loved one?
It's bittersweet, you know. Of course, it's wonderful that we are bringing that closure to that family, and it's really important work. We kind of take on the sad so that it's not as sad for them anymore.
So Hunter, thank you very much for the very important work that you do for our community.
Thank you.
Dr. Klein, I know sometimes people find bones out in the woods. Do they bring them to your office?
Yes, they do. Most of the time, they're going to be non-human bones, like this. On occasion, it's going to be a human bone. Then it becomes a potential crime scene, which then launches a whole criminal investigation. I have an interesting and tragic example of that. When I worked in New Mexico, it all started with someone walking their dog and they found a bone and brought it to the medical examiner's office, and it turned out it was human. Over a period of time, it was discovered that there were multiple victims of a serial killer who buried the victims in the New Mexico desert.
Dr. Klein, your team does such important work bringing closure to deaths in our community one way or the other. So thank you very much for the work that you and your team do.
Thank you very much. I want to emphasize that the medical examiner's office is not just one person. We work as a whole team of dedicated professionals in order to try to bring some answers to the family.
Thank you.